Hi, I'll be presenting my experience at Springbrook Public School today. For this presentation, I hope that you take away an experience that you may relate to or find intriguing and would like to know more about. So let's start with my first day, and I'll tell you straight off the bat that I did not go as expected. I got the pleasure to meet several amazing teachers, staff, and the students that I was assigned with. My focus for the intern was to be able to build as many connections with the students as possible. With my own knowledge and experience as a student myself, I know that the best productivity in the classroom comes from a comfortable environment where students feel the most confident when approaching their mentors and teachers. The more confident they are in school, ultimately the better school performance. My first mistake was that I didn't put enough initiative to familiarize myself with the students and vice versa. This resulted in a slower process of them being comfortable with me. Things do eventually turn around at the end of my intern, since all the boys started making fun of me for liking a certain rapper they didn't like, and the girls handed me a beautifully written card to say goodbye. When given the opportunity to teach a lesson, I had no idea what to do, but I knew that I couldn't just stand up there and give a lecture. A piece of advice my teacher gave me was that despite planning out a lesson you may think would go well, the lesson is always based on student engagement. To this, I've previously studied these students and have them seen to be actively engaged in media literacy with their willingness to learn from visual aids. This includes videos and infographics as well. With my background as a third-year history major, I knew that I needed to add something to the lesson to make the lesson more comprehensive. I've had much experience to be able to historically analyze a painting or photo. Conclusively, I knew that if I taught a lesson, it had to be in a way that they were already familiarized with and understood how to learn from it. For this, I use historical paintings to teach history. For the parts of the lesson where I couldn't find images to teach, I immediately noticed that I started to lose their attention. For Peter DeWitt explains that proactive learning is largely present when societal agenda is not at stake. In other words, giving students the opportunity to apply their historical thinking in learning is favored over lecturing and watching informational videos. To this, I would say prioritizing thinking historically and building from previous knowledge is far more successful and useful over memorizing historical facts. I then had the opportunity to facilitate an activity where I design the assignment, provide the extra supplies, and be a mentor. The homeroom teacher simply checks for completion and adds it to her gradebook. The scope of this assignment was to imagine being a character during the time of the fur trade and discuss any political affairs written in a diary format. This was tricky. In facilitating this project, I would be explaining what I thought was enough to understand this assignment. I would say, try writing as a character in history. What do you think they would feel, see, or think? But the students weren't fully grasping the scope of the assignment. In time, while I was helping them, I turned to Fullen on his take on deeper learning as going deeper, his idea on deeper learning, and encouraged his proposal of doing the work of the field rather than covering material. So instead, I would say, pretend when you were one of the characters in this painting of a battle that we studied before. What would you experience? What is something that you would want to write in your diary? If, for example, you saw people in action in battle, what would you then write in your diary? This inevitable outcome was the actual writing of history and contributing to the narrative history, which provided better learning rather than passively studying history. Over the span of 100 hours, I definitely learned so much about learning, how to pivot between what I think will work out and what actually will, and to use my expectations as a guide rather than to facilitate learning. The students of Springbrook have taught me so much, and I hope to visit and continue my learning journey with their community. Thank you.